Alrighty. So today's your name stream starting. I gotta fix that. Um I have no idea. I have no idea. It's still some holdover with decompiling all the links from when I multi-box streamed to now that I only stream on Twitch. I used to restream to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. You can't do that anymore anyway. And so I'm pulling everything over to my Twitch category. So I gotta fix that. I'll fix that. I made a note. But yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be back doing the politics show. I try very hard to keep politics off of my video game channel because people come to the video game channel, they want to kick back, they want to relax. They don't want to deal with they don't want to deal with real world stuff. They want to just talk about their favorite video games. But the problem is that we've got this head in the sand mentality. And since we know for an absolute fact, people aren't being educated in school. This is going to be my foot stomp for the rest of my life. If we want to fix society, we got to fix schools. Because things like today, people believe that they own something. Like I've come up with this, and I've got a lot of examples today. I've got a lot of examples. We're gonna look at a lot of different things today. But like, I remember not long ago. What's up, Wolf? I remember not long ago, Verizon canceled service to like 4,000 people. And they canceled service to like 4,000 people because those people were in like rural middle of nowhere. And they were using a lot of bandwidth because it was like the 5G network thing or the 4G network thing. The Verizon Fios at home, and Verizon didn't really price out very well. And these people were using their thing for 100% of their internet needs. Imagine that. And so Verizon just canceled their services. And it became a big, publicity nightmare for them. Most people don't even remember it happened, but it became a big deal, and judges were involved and lawyers were involved. And the way it is because cell phones aren't utilities. You can actually cut somebody's service off. Those people thought that they owned the service. They didn't. Verizon had to give them money back for the hardware that they've bought and whatever. But overall, Verizon just literally said, we're not going to offer you service anymore. And that's a problem. That's a really big problem because, you need interconnectivity. But this thing comes up in all the time when people say, well, I own that, or I have the right to. Well, it's always amazing when people start talking about that they have the right to, or they own something, or this, or that, or the other. It's like, before we jump into the do you own it, big thing coming out of a lot of court cases right now is Walmart versus Costco versus Sam's Club. And I'm going to drop Costco off of that. I'm going to keep it at Sam's Club and Walmart. And the problem is Sam's Club is a division of Walmart. And so somebody over at Sam's Club, and the whole stopping for the receipts thing has always bothered me. It bothers me. When they get in front of me, I say no thank you, and I just walk past them. If they get in my way and I said, are you ready for a lawsuit? You're not going to illegally detain me. Get out of my way. I'm asking to leave. Get out of my way. And they're like, we need to check your receipt. I said, no, you don't. You needed to check my receipt at your terminal. It's called a point of sale terminal. It's a POS terminal. The property became mine at the POS. You want to check receipts, you check it then. And I've had the cops called on me, and the cops have come out, and I've explained my case, and I've said, well, first of all, if you're going to keep detaining me, my groceries are going to have to get returned because my food's going to go bad. I said, second of all, I took ownership of the property the moment that the transaction happened. If they don't want there to be a long walk between the registers and the door, then they need to relay out their store. But I became the owner of this property because I got the cops called on me once. I made a purchase. My blood sugar was low. I bought a soda at the terminal. I opened it and I drank it. In that particular time, They didn't even ask me for a receipt. They just called the cops on me. The cops get there. I hand them a receipt. The cops are like, "You're being detained for shoplifting." I'm like, "Here's the receipt." And the cop said, "Well, why didn't you show it to them?" I said, "They never asked me for it. Their stupid LP people detained me." I said, "By the way, I'd like you to arrest them for unlawful detainment." And that's when things got a little spicy. But I don't stop at the door. And when people say, "Well, why don't you just comply?" I say, "Because I'm not a sheeple." Right? The moment you start complying with stupidity, we see how that turns out. Giving up your civil liberties for streamline, is why your civil liberties get chopped and chopped and chopped. But a lot of this ties in because companies can just do whatever they want, right? Companies can just do whatever they want because nobody ever challenges them. The first one we're going to talk about today, I'm sure some of you may have known about this, and for the people off in podcast land, I will put all the links in the podcast description. You guys, if you're not familiar with this, Peloton turned a free feature on its $4,000 treadmill into a $39 monthly subscription. Well, first of all, a treadmill shouldn't cost $4,000. I think exercise equipment should be subsidized. There should be a tax break because, again, one of the leading causes of health issues in America is obesity. I think if you're on a $4,000 treadmill, a $39 monthly subscription to a $4,000 treadmill is insult to injury. But this is back from June 2021. They announced that owners will need to sign up for a $39 monthly subscription to use their $4,000 treadmill because it made changes to the product after a voluntary recall that was linked to dozens of incidents and a child's death. Their range of fitness bikes and treadmills have a Just Ride and Just Run feature that allows owners to exercise without the need for a membership to a range of instructional classes. If owners didn't want to pay for the classes or wanted to cancel their membership, they could still work out using these features. However, following safety concerns after a child was killed and more than 70 incidents were reported, the company issued a voluntary recall for the Tread Plus. Following those incidents, the free Just Run option was removed as a part of an update that added a safety lock feature called Tread Lock. The company said due to current technical limitations, Tread Lock is not yet available without a membership. Okay, so you put a safety feature in that is behind a membership. Let me tell you what level, as a biomedical equipment technician, bullshit, because you can have a pin pad, a digital pin pad appear on screen that in order to even get the machine to do anything, you have to key in the pad. You can put a safety feature on without requiring a membership. It's just that simple. It's just like your computer. When you start it up, it asks you for a password or a PIN. Oh, it's that simple. Your phone asks you for a PIN. You tell me I need to have a membership to have my phone unlocked. My phone that's not on anybody's network still has a PIN on it. It still works just fine. We have waived 3 months of the all-access membership for Tread Plus owners, so those without a subscription will need to reactivate their 3-month all-access membership to enable Tread Lock before they can access Just Run. Some customers are threatening legal action after the free Just Run setting disappeared. Under the current conditions of the voluntary recall, Tread Plus owners can return their treadmill for a full refund. Like Wolfgar said, that I'm going to need my full refund. It's similar to a normal treadmill, but includes a 32-inch high-definition touchscreen and soundbar. It allows instructors to speak to users while working out with other members. Now, like Cartho says, going for a walk or a bike ride is free. And I don't disagree with you. However, there are a lot of people who need treadmills. There are a lot of people that I know that need treadmills. Basically, number one, they don't have safe outside hours, right? They get off of work. They go to work before they can't get up early to go for a run. I mean, they could, but even then, the time they would be getting up, it wouldn't be safe for them to go run. And they can't run after work because when they get home, it wouldn't be safe to go for a run. Yeah, I want a small treadmill I can put under my standing desk. That's like my next big purchase that I can so I can walk. Because now that I can lose weight again, I want to lose weight. But with this said, how do you just turn a $39 monthly subscription option on somebody's treadmill? So, right? And this was like after the fact. Yeah, I'm not buying a Peloton though. I'm not doing it. Because it boils down to well, do you own that? Do you own that? Do you really own the treadmill then? Conceptually, do you own the treadmill if in order to use all of its features, you have to continue paying for it? And we're going to get into some other areas of life where this is where this is the case. But do you own it then? Or are you just leasing it? Are you just borrowing it? Or what? I know some people would say, well, it's a lot like having a TV. You have a TV, but if you want to access certain services, you have to pay a subscription. And I do agree with that. But the difference is I can always use the TV as a TV. I forgot to look up one of them. If I can get this really quickly. So yeah, I can't, I'm not gonna be able to find this one quickly. It's just like video games or digital movies. Do you guys remember before Vudu was like the online digital platform, there were like 17 of those companies that all were like, you buy your DVD. I know DVDs, you buy them, you store them before streaming. And then you got the digital code so that you could load it. Well, at one point, man, I had about 9 of these online places. Like Warner Brothers had their own digital redeem, right? Warner Brothers had their own digital redeem. HBO had their own digital redeem. Disney had their own digital redeem. And it was just like, guys, come on. Why can't we just have, like, I get that people are against the monopoly, right? I get that people are against the monopoly, but having one place online where we can go to have all of our DVD buys, it's just a smart way to do it. Like somebody said to me, they don't like Steam because they like having physical copies of their game. And I agree with that. I don't know why, right? You're fine with Monopoly if the prices are reasonable. Free 50, baby. Free 50. And that's just rarely ever the case. But Vudu has basically a monopoly. And nobody's saying, see, everybody always talks about monopoly this or monopoly that, and that's fine. But Vudu has basically a monopoly, right? Vudu has basically a monopoly over the digital redeems, right? I don't know of any company other than Vudu that is doing digital redeems now, because they merged with everybody. They merged with Walmart Online, the Disney division that was doing it, the Warner Brothers division that was doing it, movieredeems.com. Vudu is a monopoly. They get paid a little bit of money for every code that you redeem. Okay. I went in there not too long ago and I was like, holy shit, I still got 70 movies in here. Now, do I buy most of my movies now on Amazon? Yeah. What if Amazon ever goes out of business? Well, fuck, I'm going to be out my movie collection. Right? There goes my John Wick 4 and the Now You See Me 1 and 2, and X-Files and a couple other things. This is in the same vein. Do you have the right to repair something you own? For example, John Deere was hit with a class action because they were preventing farmers from repairing their tractors. Well, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look. Michigan introduces right to repair legislation. Michigan Senator Joseph Bellino and Representative Dale Zorn commented recently and introduced legislation that would give Michigan farmers the right to repair their own equipment. This is about standing up for our local farming families and making sure they have the tools they need to fix their own equipment quickly and affordably. Michigan farmers are too often prevented from repairing their own agricultural equipment or taking it to a locally owned shop because large manufacturers withhold the complete sets of tools and software necessary to make timely repairs. These bills will assure hardworking farmers will have access to everything they need to repair the equipment they own. The state has a shortage of agricultural repair facilities and technicians, causing critical delays in maintaining equipment that can create financial hardships for farmers. These bills will allow farmers and independent repair facilities to maintain farm tractors, and with the tools, technology, and parts they will need to keep the production moving forward. Make critical service information fully and safely available. Owners and independent technicians would have access to manuals, schematics, and circuit diagrams, as well as machine code and firmware patches. This isn't even legal, just so we're clear. Even if this passes in Michigan, this will get overturned at the Supreme Court, at the federal Supreme Court. You can't require me to give you complex schematics and circuit diagrams. First of all, I'm going to help you out here. I'm going to help you out. This right here is a level of bullshit that is stupid to begin with. And I'm not there's probably one or two farmers out there that can do circuit level repair, circuit board level repair. In the year 2023, we don't do circuit board level repair as repair technicians. We do swaptronics. So I go in to fix a piece of medical equipment, and the machine throws a B3 error. So I look at the manual and it says a B3 error means I swap board B3. So I go in and I take a B3 board out. I open up the machine. I take out the B3 board. I red tag it. I put in the new B3 board. I seal the red tagged one up. I start the machine up through startup again, and it says, okay, now you have an A7 error. Now, the truth of the matter is, the reason why I tagged the B3 board red, that board still may be good, but the machine doesn't know where the error is. So I swap out the A7 board, and then the machine works. So what I do is I send the B3 board and the A7 board back to the manufacturer. They give me what's known as a carcass fee refund because I returned a Swaptronics board. And then they send me, if the B3 board was good, they send me my B3 board back. If the A7 board was damaged, they repair it for a nominal fee and they send it back to me. If it's damaged and it's a their fault problem, they send me a new one. Owners and independent technicians would have access to manuals. I agree with this. I agree with giving them access to manuals. I remember in my dad's automotive shop, my dad was a mechanic. My brother was a licensed mechanic. I don't know if my dad had his licensure or not. I know my brother did. We had the manuals for his Firebird, the 79 Granada, and the 82 Escort. We had all of the books. The reason why they stopped giving, well, they didn't give them. Let me back that up. The reason why they stopped allowing people to buy those is because the cars got too complicated. My 2017 Dodge Journey on the driveway right now, 2016. I don't fucking know what year my car is. Damn, it's a Dodge Journey. It's a piece of shit. It has 20 computers in it. It has 20 computers in it. I'm not fixing that. Machine code and firmware patches and fixes. I don't know how you mandate firmware patches because and this is why when politicians write legislation, it always makes me laugh. Firmware patches are always available because they're things that the manufacturer pushes out to you to keep the thing working. They don't hide firmware patches. If it needs a firmware patch, they send it to you. Make parts and tools affordable. It would require manufacturers to make service parts and tools, including troubleshooting, diagnostics tools, codes, and software, available to equipment owners and third parties at non-discriminatory pricing. So, if this line right here doesn't scare the shit out of you, right? If this doesn't scare the shit out of you, it should. This is the government stepping in and telling a company, you have to sell parts and tools, and you have to do it at a price we tell you. You know what's going to happen in Michigan? Because this is where this wonderful lawsuit, or where this wonderful new law is fixing to go in. You know what's going to happen? They're going to start selling tractors anywhere but Michigan. Now, when people say, Jay, you just don't understand agriculture, I do understand, and I understand very well, because my dad is affected by this. My dad has a New Holland tractor that if it breaks, he only has 20 acres. But if his New Holland tractor breaks, he can't do basically everything is built. He's an 83-year-old man. So everything he needs to do, he needs the tractor for. Everything. If the guy can't come out for 3 weeks, my dad will call me and be like, now's a good time to visit. I'll be like, why is that? He's like, I got nothing to do. The tractor's broke. Is price fixing not illegal? Price fixing is illegal, but that's not what they're talking about here. They're telling me that what they're saying is they're saying you need this to fix. You need this. Fine, you need this to diagnose what's wrong with your tractor. This is the diagnostic handheld, and the government is saying I have to sell it to you, and they're telling me the price I can sell it to you. Price fixing is illegal, and that's not what they're talking about here. Protect consumers by ensuring clearer contracts. All contracts would be required to clearly identify which elements of a machine are not included in the sale. Companies would not be allowed to create end-user license agreements that modify or limit support options. This is this bullshit that, right? You don't need the government involved in this. If you're going to turn around and say, I bought that tractor and now I have buyer's remorse because there's problems with it. Well, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. The problem is you didn't have a plan in place for sustained maintenance. It's just like, how many of you get your oil changed at exactly 3,000 miles? Most people don't. Most people run over 3,500. I see people all the time that say, I get my oil changed every 6,000 miles. I use 100% synthetic and you go 5,000 miles. That's fine. And that's great. But there's a reason why I go in every 3,000 miles. I go in every 3,000 miles because for the peace of mind. I go in, they check everything. If there's something wrong, I don't want to be driving around on it. 5,000 miles, if I was driving a lot, I would probably do 5,000 miles. If I was driving to and from a job every single day, if I was like, in recent years, I was driving less than 7,000 miles a year. Well, then my 3,000 mile oil change was a 6-month oil change, right? Usually I go in before Christmas every year, even though it's not 5,000, because I drive across the state over mountains. Yeah, and exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to go in for the oil change early. It's not quite 5,000 miles, but I'm going to go in. I'm going to get my car serviced before my long road trip. It's what I did when I drove to Disney. My wife was like, you just got your oil changed. I said, yeah, but I'm going in to get bumper to bumper, everything looked at. I needed an alignment, which was good. I'm about to drive like 2,000 miles round trip. Good thing I got the alignment. And then the thing that pissed me off is when I got all the way down there, I got a flat and they needed to rotate my tires. The guy was really cool. When I got my flat tire, the guy was really a straight shooter, because he knew I was on vacation and he knew I was a vet. He's like, yeah, we're going to plug your tire for you. And that's going to be like $9. but we want to rotate that tire. We want to rotate that tire to your back. So we're going to rotate all your tires for free. And I said, that means a lot to me. Why are you doing that? He's like, because I can leave the tire with the plug on your front, which you have a front wheel drive car. He's like, but the likelihood of you having a problem goes up. If I put it on the back, you probably won't have a problem. And I don't want you to get stranded because I can tell you have kids. I said, how can you tell I have kids? He's like, oh, we looked in the back seat and stuff, and we see blankets and coloring books and stuff. He's like, I don't want you broken down on the side of the road. He's like, let me just rotate your tires for free for you. And he's like, yeah, your car doesn't need an alignment. I was like, I just had one. He's like, oh, good, smart guy. What's the name for it when the government tells you the price then? We don't have a term for that in America, because the government doesn't tell us prices. That's why that law, even if it passes in Michigan, it'll get overturned. Our government cannot dictate prices. If they could, would insulin cost $800 a vial? Would an EpiPen cost $600? Right? If the government could dictate prices the way other governments do, we would have a lot better quality of life. But we have a laissez-faire, hands-off capitalism government. As long as you're not price gouging during a natural disaster, the government, or a pandemic, the government really can't dictate shit to you. We have price gouging laws. Like, for example, supply and demand only stretches so far. During a natural disaster, Florida, California, people get caught up in this shit where they're charging $20 for a case of water. Well, people get mad about that. Well, they've determined that $20 isn't an unacceptable number. But when you start getting the store owners that are selling cases of water for $100, that's a problem. Their store owners are allowed to make a certain amount of markup. Now, do I think it's bullshit that they can change a $5 case of water, $5.99 to $20? Yeah, I think it is. Suddenly, generators jump in price from $5.99 to $12.99. Well, first of all, if you're buying a generator just before a hurricane, you're an idiot. Because if you're I'm moving down to where hurricanes are likely, I probably should have, like, it's like I tell people, you should have 3 cases of water in your house at all times. When you buy a new case, you take one of the old cases and then you restack them. So you're always cycling out the oldest water. But you should have 3 cases of water in your house. This is just life advice. You should have 3, 4, 5 weeks worth of food in your house. And people are like, I could never afford that. Dude, ramen's like 75 cents a package. You could have... Now, would your life suck if you were eating 2 bricks of ramen a day for weeks at a time? Yeah, but would you die? No. Jay, what are you worried about, a zombie apocalypse? No, I'm worried about, the next pandemic. Right? I'm worried about the next interruption to the global supply chain. I laughed at the people that bought $200 worth of toilet paper and $75 worth of food. We never got close to being low on toilet paper. We never got close. I never understood people when they did that. But I digress. Let's jump back into super cheap fire starter, cotton ball and Vaseline. Disaster prep is genuinely not that hard. Yeah. Doritos, by the way. You can light Doritos are kindling, if you didn't know that. You can light Doritos on fire. I don't think you can light Cool Ranch on fire. I think it's only the cheese Doritos. But you can use cheese Doritos as kindling. Little interesting. Here's another one. The car, Tesla. Everybody talks about Tesla. Tesla this and auto driving this. Autopilot is an advanced driving assistance system that assists your vehicle with steering, accelerating, and braking for other vehicles and pedestrians. It assists with the most burdensome part of driving and work alongside things like emergency braking, collision warning, and blind spot monitoring. Basic autopilot, $199 a month. Enhanced autopilot, $99 a month. Okay. So full drive service capability subscriptions are currently available to eligible vehicles in the United States. All right. So this is some of that next level bullshit that I'm talking about. People buy Teslas because they think they come with all this auto drive stuff, and then they find out the auto drive is even more a year, right? I don't know why that, and this is like with everything. This is an extra $23.88 a year. I don't know why consumers and fans of a product can't get the story straight. And if you notice, they can't get the story straight. Starlink is going to be amazing. It's going to be 20 millisecond global ping. No, it's not. That's not even possible. All Teslas have auto drive. All Teslas have the capability. All Teslas have capability for auto drive. Not every Tesla has auto drive. You got to pay for it, right? We're going to talk a little bit about what scares me about these auto drive vehicles, though. First and foremost, I couldn't find the story, and I do apologize. I couldn't find the story I was looking for. There's a lot of stories of this. The police can remotely shut down your Tesla or your electric vehicle because the company can remotely shut down your vehicle. I think this is a really, 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 really dangerous thing because you should not be able to shut down my vehicle, right? Yeah, we're going to talk about the BMW heated seats. I've got that one queued up, and I've got the locking the horsepower queued up to look at. But I don't think the police should have the ability to shut down my vehicle. But with that said, right? With that said, this is a new tool for the police to use. Vehicle-mounted device that enables cars' electronics at 50 meters. Most of Batman's other crime-fighting inventions haven't come to fruition, but the day of the Bat Ray may be soon upon us. A UK-based company called E2V has developed a system capable of being mounted on a car that will confuse the electronics of another vehicle enough that the car will stop functioning. The device works from 50 meters away. It's 164 feet for you Americans. The product is RF Safe Stop. It uses a pulse of L-band and S-band microwave energy to disrupt the electronics of the target vehicle's components. Modern vehicles are full of electronics and won't function without them. Vehicles manufactured prior to the 1980s were relatively free of microprocessors and complex electronics. But as electronic fuel injection replaced carburetors and virtually every automated function was delegated to some kind of computer, they became more efficient but also more vulnerable to electromagnetic interference. Right? All this is going to take is for a criminal to get a hold of this, disable a soccer mom's SUV and carjacker, and it'll be outlawed in the US. Right. Is that targeted, or is it just everyone in a 50-meter radius is screwed? A great question. I got pulled over driving back from one of my contracts, and the cop walked up to the side of my car and license registration. Sure, absolutely. Here you go. And he's like, "Do you know how fast you were going?" I was going the speed limit. He's like, "Well, I clocked you at 92." He's like, "You think that's funny?" I'm like, "I think it's funny that you think this thing can go 92. And he's looking at me. And I told the story on my gaming channel. It's a 173 horsepower, 2.4 liter, 4-cylinder engine. It's a 4-speed automatic transmission. The cop, when I said, "I think it's funny you think this thing goes 92, he walked to the back of the vehicle. He looked at it. He walked up. He's like, "Is this a 4-cylinder? I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's a really small engine." Handed me my paperwork back. He's like, I'm sorry, I tagged the wrong car. He must have tagged somebody going 90 because I don't speed because I'm not in that big of a hurry to get anywhere. But it was just funny. I was like, he knew I was going to go to court. I'm like, Your Honor, I don't even think my vehicle can reach speeds of 90 miles an hour. I barely can get the thing up to 74 to pass. So cops make mistakes. Could you imagine driving home from work and all of a sudden your vehicle gets disrupted, right? RF safe stop won't fry the electronics in the car, but it will disrupt them long enough to physically stop the vehicle. Really? Really? As an electrical engineer type person, I find some problems with that entire idea. Yeah, imagine your ABS freaking out. Right? Imagine your fuel inject. Imagine your power steering freaking out. Because remember, there's going to be a lot of systems freaking the fuck out while your engine is slowing down. I've had a power steering pump go out on me while traveling at 55 miles an hour. Now, I remember driving the first vehicle I drove had no power steering pump. Had no power steering. My forearms were jacked because turning this steering wheel on this vehicle with no power steering. I mean, I'm driving, I'm driving, and all of a sudden my wheel is like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like the first thing I did was throw my blinkers on because I knew I had no idea what my turning radius was going to be. And I needed to get the fuck off. I needed to get off the fucking, there was no shoulder. I needed to get the fuck off this county road. So I put my emergencies on, and thankfully the people around there, if they saw your emergencies on, they gave you a wide berth. And so I got turning this fucking thing. I got into a parking lot. And I was like, well, fuck. I said, let me turn it over, see if that kicks it. It kicked it. I drove it right to the dealership. I was like, hey, power steering pump went out. And they're like, oh yeah, there's a recall on your model. It would have been nice if you got me that mail. But they got it fixed. They gave me a loaner for a couple of days. I just thought about that. Cops kill enough people already. We don't need to give them the Skynet death ray. Yeah. Did you? And then to go along with that, did you see the thing that the cops can have the net that wraps up the back tire? That scares the shit out of me as well. The car grappler. For those of you that have not heard about the car grappler, this is another accident waiting to happen. So police can instantly end high-speed chases with this tiny net. Stopping bad guys in their tracks has never been safer. So what happens is you drive that up. We're gonna turn the audio off here. I don't want to watch this whole thing. Right? So here you go. And deploy, and that's it. It's wrapped around the back axle, right? It accomplishes a prompt controlled stop. Sure. Right? Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Except in those few moments that you see how I want to go back here because this is exactly now, instead of the police chasing the guy, this guy knows that a grappler's behind him, and look how he begins to drive. He begins to drive in such a way as to elude the grappler. Right? What is this going to cause people to do? Drive faster. Going to cause people to drive faster. I am all about solutions to potentially dangerous situations. But The grappler is maybe not. Yeah, that's really cute to truck, roll that up on a Kia or a Saturn and watch the rear axle tear off. Now, there is something to be said about, I don't care if the rear axle tears off, but what if you do tear off the rear axle on a front wheel drive car? And the car's just going to keep going. And now he doesn't have a rear axle. You think, well, people wouldn't keep driving the car. They're running from the cops, right? Prison is full of dumb people. Yeah, imagine a bad actor gets a hold of it and causes a 100-car pileup on the 405 in downtown San Diego. You're right. Exactly. Now, probably just a drone jammer gun with the codes to every vehicle's ECM. We're going to talk about that too, because if you guys aren't watching the modern news, we got a good drone story when it comes to technology, and we're going to get back to do I really own it, but we're talking about some of the problems here. The U.S. Air Force shoots down drone swarm with Thor microwave weapon. The U.S. Air Force tactical high-power operational responder microwave weapon has neutralized a swarm of drones in a recent trial. Conducted at Chestnut, New Mexico, the activity simulated real-world swarm attack on military assets. Thor engaged the targets and knocked them out of the sky using its non-kinetic speed-of-light microwave pulses. By the way, the Air Force is also the branch of service of the DoD that has the microwave weapon that they can point at crowds and make you feel like you're on fire. Don't fuck with Papa Air Force. We really don't like it. According to the Thor program manager, the weapon proved effective in neutralizing multiple targets, even though it had never before been tested against those types of drones. Drone threats are a problem. But you know what my problem with that is? Have you noticed more and more all these places are drone-free zones? Talking about legislation, there's a piece of legislation that I just saw. There's a piece of legislation I just saw that is going to prevent police departments from weaponizing drones. Also, somebody was really cute with the legislation. The way they wrote the legislation is that drones cannot use facial recognition software. And I was like, do none of you fucking idiot politicians understand how facial recognition software works? Of course, the drone is not going to use facial recognition software. The drone is going to send a camera feed to the operational center, and in the operational center, they're going to run facial recognition software. You're literally passing a law, right? You're literally passing a law that's completely irrelevant because of how the process actually works. You may not put facial recognition software on drones, and every police department's going to be like, yep, no facial recognition software on drones. By the way, quick note for the punchline for all the people. I can't believe the government is using facial recognition software. I'm never giving them my picture. Do you have a driver's license? Yeah? Well, shit. There goes your plan. There goes your plan. They already have your picture. They already have your picture. All right, let's talk about BMW. Do you really own your seats? BMW starts selling heated seat subscriptions for $18 a month. BMW is now selling subscriptions for heated seats in a number of countries. The latest example of the company's adoption of microtransactions. A monthly subscription to heat your BMW's front seats, roughly $18, with the option to subscribe for the year, 3 years, or pay for unlimited access for $415. Okay. First of all, I've already paid for the fucking heated seats. I have already paid for the hardware in my BMW for the heated seats. So you can kiss my ass if you think I'm going to buy a heated seat subscription. What are you going to do if I don't pay? You going to come to my house and take out the heater elements? When I saw this article way back when, the only thing I could think about was Select Comfort the bed company selling a subscription for their heater element in the foot part of their bed. BMW has slowly been putting features behind a subscription since 2020, and heated seat subs are now available in countries in the UK, Germany, New Zealand, and South Africa. Right. We've asked BMW for the exact details of this rollout, but it was unable to say when the subscriptions had been launched in which countries. Yeah. Yeah. Car makers have always charged customers more money for high-end features, of course, but this dynamic is very different when software rather than hardware is the limiting factor. In the case of heated seats, BMW owners already have all the necessary components, but BMW has simply placed a software block in their functionality. This is what I'm talking about. This is where consumers need to be like, nope, fuck you, BMW, not buying a BMW. Especially not going to be like the guy in my neighborhood who has a BMW and fucking delivers pizzas, right? It's like, this guy's telling me about fucking world advice, and I shut that shit down. I was like, dude, I don't need to hear any financial advice from you. He's like, why's that? I was like, you deliver pizzas in your BMW. I said, your BMW is the pizza mobile. But let's not leave Mercedes off the hook. Last year, BMW took ample heat for its plans to turn heated seats into a costly monthly subscription. BMW is already including the hardware in new cars and adjusting the sales price accordingly. Mercedes has been toying with the idea. Consumers surprisingly aren't keen on paying additional subscription for tech that already exists in the cars and was already factored into the retail price. Mercedes-Benz electric vehicle owners in North America who want a little more power and speed can now buy 60 horsepower for $60 a month. They won't have to visit a Mercedes dealer to get the upgrade either, or even leave their own driveway. The added power will be provided. Nearly 1 second decrease in 0 to 60 acceleration will be available through an over-the-air software patch. All right. So let me get this straight. My vehicle is already capable of having all of this horsepower. And you've decided that you're going to charge me an extra $60 a month for an extra 60 horsepower. Go fuck yourself. Why pay for a sub for heated seats when you can just run a jumper and a new hard switch? Because you can't. That's the problem. You can't. I mean, you can if you're an electrical engineer. But do you know how hard it is understanding these boards? A lot of these things at the board level are so difficult. Even with the tech manual, the schematics, and a walkthrough explanation of how each board is supposed to work, there would be times, because I could do board level troubleshooting. I was working on a board for 3 days, and my superintendent of the shop came and said, "Are you any closer?" I said, "I have voltage readings from everywhere on this board, and I still don't know where some of the signals are coming from." And he's like, "Well, why are you still working at it?" I said, "Because we pay $8,000 a board. When we have to replace one of these boards, it's $8,000. I said, "A couple of days of my time, I think, is worth it." I had everything all written up. When the vendor came out, the vendor was like, looking at it, he's like, "Yeah, I have no idea." I was like, "Can you ask your engineers?" He took a copy of all my notes back. They're like, "We have no idea. We just know it works." The fuck is that? We don't know why, it just works? Oh, that's how I like medical equipment to function. We don't know why. We don't know why you have negative 0.67 volts here when you're supposed to have negative 7.2. The schematics say you're supposed to have negative 0.72, and the gate's opening at negative 0.67, and we have no idea why. Oh, cool. I remember those numbers because they're drilled in the back of my head. That's the whack side of capitalism. Gatekeeping and existing functionality. Yeah. We need to make just a little bit more money on you. That's why I'll tell you, when I go to buy a car, number one, don't ever tell them you're paying cash. Don't brag. Don't try to be a baller. Don't tell them you're paying cash. Wait to see what price you can get. Talk to the sales manager, the guy that actually sells the vehicle, not the salesman who primes you. But I walk up to a car. If I know I'm buying a car off the lot, or I know I'm buying a car that day, I look at them and I say one thing. I say, you're not selling a car. I'm buying a car. I'm buying a car. I'll buy a car from you. Don't fuck this up. And I'll tell you right now, if they fuck it up, I look at them and I say, you just done fucked that up. Get me another salesperson. Give me the sales manager. Sales manager will come out and be like, I told the guy he wasn't selling a car. I was buying a car. Because I hate that shit. And I hate that shit with real estate agents as well. I'm buying a house. I'm moving to this area. Obviously, I'm moving to this area. I need a house. You're selling a house. You're making 3%. Don't fuck this up. That's also why I'll call a real estate agent. I'll say, I'm going to be in town for 2 days and I want to look at 30 houses. Make that happen. Why? Well, you really expect me to look at like 14 to 16 houses a day? Yes. Yes, I do. Because you're going to make $9,000 off me. You can set this up. I don't give a shit if you go to every house with me. I don't care if you have 3 or 4 different people working in teams. I just need to see the houses. I don't need you to tell me about the house. I need you to be able to answer questions about the house. With the whole automated car thing, we've got the whole, what do you do when a car has no driver? A Waymo driverless robo-taxi was involved in a sci-fi-esque situation in Phoenix, Arizona, where it was instructed by a police officer to pull over. The video of the encounter, who was in the back seat of the autonomous Jaguar, telling the police officer there's no one in the driver's seat, all while laughing the whole situation. Sir, we cannot move. We're sorry. This car won't let us move. We're not driving. The video got 14 million views on TikTok. Who said it was his first time riding in a self-driving car and he was actually impressed by how the Waymo handled the incident. The car had already encountered the parade once, as well as another police officer, and it tried to avoid the event. Business Insider reported that someone from Waymo support called the vehicle in question when the issue occurred and remained on the line until the passengers got to their destination. The driverless Jaguar I-Pace reportedly did exactly what it should have done, moving to the side of the road as instructed by the police officer, which can be seen in the video. I generally don't like to watch other creators' stuff, but in this case... Oh, this isn't the video we want. Okay. Apparently they didn't like link the right video. So that soundtrack's probably gonna get me a DMCA strike now. 4 notes, probably gonna get me screwed. And then we're gonna get to this one in a minute. So as you can see, technology's coming a long way, but do you own your robocar? Do you own it? If somebody can take it away from you, do you own it? If they can commandeer it, do you own it? So no, I'm not slacking. I'm on the show, man. I'm on the clock. I am on the clock. So I'm finally healthy. I'm finally feeling better. But do you own it if somebody else can take it away from you? And by the somebody else, I mean the company. I mean, I know people can always steal your shit. Or what about if people just turn your shit off? Amazon shuts down smart home after delivery driver mishears racism from doorbell. Now, first of all, spicy. Racism and hate speech are 2 different things. Racism and hate speech are 2 different things. I am not condoning racism. I think racism is a stupid as fuck theory. I think it is a stupid as fuck perspective, right? I think racism is stupid as fuck because you've got smart white people. You've got mayonnaise sandwich fucking their sister, ignorant ass hillbilly white people living in fucking trailers. You've got smart black people. You have gang banging, gun toting, crack smoking black people. You've got white people doing crystal meth. You've got losers in every race. You've got winners in every race. You've got you've got a wide range of people. I think if you're judging people on skin tone, you're stupid. I don't judge people on skin tone. My neighbor across the street is Mexican. My neighbor down the block, black guy. Guy in the middle of the block that I know is a black guy. Neighbor next to me, I don't know what he is. Guess what? I don't care what he is. Does he parent well? Yes. Is he a member of the military? Yes. What I give a shit about. I don't give a fuck what color you are. I care about your behavior and how your behavior affects me. It's like the people across the street whose kid's car got impounded. Kid's home from college again. I noticed he doesn't come through the neighborhood bumping his bass because his car got impounded. I tried very nicely when the young man was in high school. I was working in downstairs. I was trying to cut a video. He was bumping bass. I could hear it. This was before I had any sort of quality control on my videos. I went outside. I said, hey, I'm working. Fuck you, bitch. No. You don't understand the rules of this game. Fuck you, bitch. So he was out there bumping his bass. I called the police. I said, hey, can you come into the subdivision and just roll your window down? You're going to hear the bass from the front of the subdivision. So they showed up. They wrote him a ticket. And the dad came over and yelled at me. And I said, well, first of all, you're not going to yell at me while I'm standing in my own house. You can fuck right off. And I said, there's nothing I can do for you. He's like, well, you can go to court with us. And I said, I have no intention of going to court with you. None. Your kid's an asshole. I didn't give him the ticket. The cop did. Well, the kid did it again. And instead of walking out there and saying anything, I just called the police. And I was like, hey, idiot that you wrote a ticket to is doing it again. This time, they fucking impounded his car and impounded his stereo system. The dad came over here mad as hell. And I said, hey, look, man, I'm not parenting your kid. I said, if you keep coming to my house, I'll just get an order of protection. And it's going to suck for you because you're within the minimum order of protection distance. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen, but I know it's not going to be good for you. Well, then the dad finally figured it out. It's not my fault your kid's an asshole. Your kid is now just experiencing the consequences for not following the rules. Now the kid's home. But no bass. He's got a nice new car. No bass. I don't give a shit if he blasts his bass down the county roads. Chilling on a dirt road, blare it. Just don't play it outside my house. Speaking of the house, though. Racism. An Amazon user who had created a smart home using their products and tech found himself locked out of all of his devices after he was reported by a delivery driver for racism, which he believes was just his automatic doorbell being misheard. Brandon Jackson revealed how several vital features of his home were locked down while Amazon investigated the racism complaint in a blog post, where he said the lockdown lasted nearly a week before he was able to access his devices again. He also said the experience made him reconsider his relationship with Amazon, and he was now considering dismantling some of the features of his smart home. In his post, it said he was locked out of his accounts and devices the day after he received a delivery. He said the following day, I found my Echo Show had signed out, and I was unable to interact with my smart home. A delivery driver for Amazon misheard an automated doorbell for racism. Nobody was home. Amazon turned off all the lights, shut down the smart home before it even started. Law enforcement via corporation with no due process. After he contacted Amazon, he said he was met with an accusatory tone by representatives he spoke to. When I connected with the executive, they said if I knew why my account had been locked. When I answered, I was unsure. Their tone turned somewhat accusatory. I was told the driver who delivered my package reported receiving racist remarks from my Ring doorbell. I reviewed the footage and confirmed that no such comments had been made. Instead, the doorbell had issued an automated response, "Excuse me, can I help you?" The driver who was walking away and wearing headphones must have misinterpreted the message. Nevertheless, by the following day, my Amazon account was locked and all my Echo devices were logged out. All right. So, a couple of things here. I don't know what the fuck is with companies that have horrible public relations, but if there was ever a reason why I'm not going to have Amazon integration into my home, that right there was it. Because I don't mind walking to the fucking thermostat. I don't mind walking downstairs to make myself a cup of coffee. I don't mind turning off all the lights in my house. I don't mind turning on my security system. I don't need the I don't need to be like Amazon intruder alert. I mean, if you look up the TikTok Alexa intruder alert, it's pretty fucking creepy. Like, right now I don't have the light bulbs in, but I have the light bulbs that are controlled by remote. You can actually tell, you can set up all of your devices. You can be like, Alexa, I'm feeling depressed, and Alexa will turn all your lights blue. That's fine and all. But I don't, you can have your refrigerator, your freezer, your stove. You can preload your food on your countertop in Alexa. You can call Alexa and you can be like, Alexa, I'm on my way home. Please start dinner. And it will, they've got these like ovens that are refrigerators and ovens meshed into one. And when you say, Alexa, I'm on my way home, it'll start cooking your food. That's fine. But I don't need somebody at Amazon to get angry that I might have said something racist and then shut my shit down, right? I'm not interested. I'm not interested in losing access to my life. I think it's a dumb system. I think it's a very very dumb idea. With that said, I had to start the piece on saying I think racism is stupid. I think racists are stupid. And it saddens me. Yes, what Adaptable Fox just said. What saddens me, I am a member of the ACLU. I am a member of the American Civil Liberties Union. And the ACLU's entire purpose is to defend the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, right? Here's the problem. There's a quote, and I got to get the author of the quote. Oh, yeah. There is a quote. I disagree with what you said, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. It's not, no, 6'3" saying something racist once in a blue moon does not make you a racist. Yes, it does. Bullshit. We're not even going to get into degrees of racism. If you say something racist, you are fucking racist. Period. Because those words came out of your mouth. We're not getting into the bullshit that you can say racist shit and not be racist. Because you can't say sexist shit and not be a sexist. On this show, we don't make bullshit excuses. Don't put your like toes in the water and be like, I want to have my toes in the racism water, but I don't want to jump in. No, you're in all the way. The thing is this, like Adaptable Fox said, I may not agree with a single word that you've said, but I will defend to the death your right to say it, because unfortunately, I don't get to be picky choosy about, what freedom of speech. Either you're all in on freedom of speech or you're not in on freedom of speech. It was like 25 years ago in my hometown, at the far edge of my hometown, past where anything was, there was a Muslim community. They bought all the shitty, vacant, ex-industrial land, all the fucking places that not even trailer park poor wanted to live on. They bought up all that land and they renovated it. And they built private communities. And by private communities, I mean they did not list the houses on the open market. They did all of their transactions peer to peer, person to person. So everybody that lives in this one town is at a minimum from the Middle East, but they're 99.9% of them are all followers of Islam. Then they wanted to build a mosque. And I said, great, build a mosque. It came up for this big city vote. I used to be involved in my city council. I used to go to all the meetings. And people were like, they want to build a mosque. I said, great. It wasn't Voltaire. It was not Voltaire. It was, if you look up who said that quote, it was actually a philosopher who paraphrased what she thought Voltaire was thinking. Voltaire gets credited with the quote, but he didn't say it. But we were at a city council meeting and they wanted the right to build a mosque. And I spoke out and I said, let them build a mosque. And I started getting all that 1990s Muslim hate shit. And they're like, I can't believe that you're okay with them building a mosque. I said, we don't ever have a problem when a Christian faith wants to build another church. We didn't have a problem when the Jewish community wanted to build another synagogue. We didn't have a problem when the Catholic Church said they were going to put a second Catholic church in because the parish had gotten too big and they needed a second Catholic church and a second Catholic school. And they said, well, those are all civilized religions. And I said, the Middle East was civilized while Europeans were still living in trees, fucking each other like a monkey fucking a football. I said, I don't care if they build a mosque. Because freedom of religion means freedom of everybody's religion. If we're not going to let every religion... Now, Jay, does that mean you support Satanists? Again, do I agree with them? No. No, I do not. But do I support their right to have a church? Yes, I do. Because freedom of religion means freedom of religion. Now, the cult of the flying spaghetti monster. Go fuck yourselves. You just want to wear fucking pasta colanders on your head in your driver's license photo. No, I don't support you. Right? Scientologists. Do I think Scientologists need to be investigated to the nth degree based on the stories coming out of the Temple of Scientology out there in Utah? Fuck yes, I do. Right? No, I do not support Pastafarians. Right? I do not support Pastafarians because they don't have an organized doctrine. They want to wear pasta colanders of their head. As a minister of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, I think you have misunderstood our goal. Hold on a second. 6 foot? Send me a copy of your fucking ordained ministry paperwork. Because I am an ordained minister. So send me a copy of your ministry paperwork. Because I want to see it. Because nobody has ever sent me a copy of the Pastafarian. I've never seen a Pastafarian actually ordained minister paperwork. You haven't been touched by his noodly appendage then. You're right, I haven't. But it's also like this. I support your right to not believe in religion. As long as you support a religious person's right, send it to me in Discord. As long as you send me, or as long as you can say, I don't believe in religion. Okay, you don't believe in religion. As long as you support other people's rights to believe in religion. Now, with the whole in God we trust on the money. This Discord doesn't link, unfortunately, because then that's another thing I'll have to add to the bot. How are you not on my Discord? With the money thing. In God we trust is no longer on the money. In God we trust. Oh, it is. I'm sorry. It's not on the front. It's on the back now. In God we trust is in the back of the money. This is going to make me sound anti-American. I don't think in God we trust should be on the money. I don't think it should be on the money. Because which God? America is about the freedom of religion and the freedom from religion. Right? I support the right of other people to be protected from prosecution due to their religion. There is a line for me. Just because the government has to let you worship as you please doesn't mean I should. Yeah, e pluribus unum. From the many one. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? No. Get the fuck out of here. Where the fuck is... Where was your training? Where was your education? You fucking literally... Oh my god, this is fucking ridiculous. You literally have a website that just shits you out fucking credentialing on a fucking automatic fucking website. No, get the fuck out of here. It automatically populates, like you don't have an actual certificate. Oh my god, this is the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster has just lost more respect. More respect for me. I support the right of other people to be protected from persecution due to their religion. There is a line for me. Just because the government has to let you worship as you please doesn't mean I should. But the thing is that you don't have the right to infringe upon somebody else's life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness. So you have the right to object. But the problem is you have the right to not like the fact that a mosque is a fucking temple of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is being built down the street from you. You have the right. You have the right to not like that. And you have the right to protest. But the problem is, yeah, your life does not need to adhere to their religious beliefs. But and you're absolutely right. Also, and we're gonna get into the other spicy thing in a second, but you have the right to protest, but you really don't. If I want a goddamn chicken sandwich on Sunday, I should get one. You're right. If you want a goddamn chicken sandwich on Sunday, you should get one. But you're not going to get one from Chick-fil-A because they're closed on Sunday. So you're going to have to go to Wendy's or Burger King or McDonald's because you're not getting one from Chick-fil-A. When I say you have the right to protest, this one always throws people off. They're building a church to Jahlon they're building a church to the Joker down the street. It is freedom. You have the freedom of choice. You can't force the religious observing people to come to work and give you a chicken. That's chicken tyranny. You don't like the church of the Joker being built down the street, so you go protest it. Why? Because what? You're protesting what? Remember, you do not have the right to protest. Show me in the Constitution where you have the right to protest. And it's not there. It's not there. People will be like, it's my First Amendment right to protest. Let me help you out here. You have the right of the people peaceably to assemble. And to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Except the government can't stop the Church of the Joker from being built down the road because the Church of the Joker did all of their paperwork and they have an ordained minister who has all their paperwork not filed on by a fucking website. And So there's no point in protesting because the government can't give you a redress of your grievances other than to say, we've heard you, but we can't stop them. It's completely legal. It's like, I was watching, I love watching police videos. I love watching police interaction videos. There was a guy who was contracted to do, wait, that's how fucking broken our Constitution is. They ruled you don't have a right to protest, but lobbying is protected. Correct. No, I won't. That's why I always say send it to me on Discord so I can look at it. I don't put stuff on the screen until I know what I'm putting on the screen. But the problem is people don't even know their constitutionally protected rights. People don't even know their constitutionally protected rights. They misinform them all the time. It's like I've said, when you start to get these assemblies that are out of control. Oh, anyway, police video. Anyway, before the show, I was watching a police video. I love police videos. And there was a guy who was contracted to lay dirt on a road. And he was being unlawfully detained. He was being unlawfully detained by the neighbors. And the neighbors were saying he didn't have the right to put dirt on that land because that land was not the client's, it was theirs. And he said to him, he's like, look, you said that to me the last time. I had to have a guy come out. I had another survey done. The survey was accepted by the county surveyor. I'm following what the county surveyor said. Get out of my way or I'm going to crush your truck with my dump truck. The guy pulled across the road. He wouldn't get out of the way. The dump truck driver called his boss. His boss drove out there. The boss is already recording. He said, look, I'm not even dealing with you fucking people. Get your truck out of the way or I'm going to have you arrested for unlawful detainment. The cop showed up and the cop starts doing the cop thing. And the guy said, hey, look, respectfully, this is the file number. Ask for a speed run of that file number. We were out here a couple of weeks ago. These people, you guys said we couldn't do our job until we had a survey. We have a survey. You're not surveyors. The county surveyor has already approved it. I'm not interested in having a discussion with you or them or anybody. They need to get their truck out of the way because my truck is being unlawfully detained. And the cop was like, I totally understand. I can't tell you what you can do. I can't tell you what you can't do. The owner's like, I'm not trying to be short with you, but I'm losing money every minute here because I got 2 trucks ready to come in and this truck can't go out. I'm getting demurrage charges on the dirt that I have. I don't have time to have a long discussion. I'll stand here and talk to you all day as soon as you get them to move their vehicle out of the way. So the cop walks over. And the person had gotten the Freedom of Information request to get the cop's body cam. The cop walks over. He says, hey, look, first thing that needs to happen is this truck needs to move. And the people are like, well, we're not moving the truck. And the cop says, the first thing that needs to happen is you need to move your truck. Well, we're parked on our property. Rightfully or wrongfully, you cannot illegally detain somebody who justifiably believes they have the right to be here. Now, I like the way the cop said justifiably believes. If I show up to your house and I walk in, I can say I believe I have the right to be here. You call the police and the cops throw me out or arrest me for trespass because I don't. But if I go into your house while you're out of town, Carthos was off in Paris. I move into Carthos's house, get rid of all his furniture. He comes home. What the fuck? Hey, what are you doing in my house? And Carthos is like, no, you're in my house. I'm like, I have a contract that says I just leased this place for a year. And he's like, well, who the fuck signed that? Right? Who the fuck signed that? And I have a piece. So he calls the cops come out and I take out, I take out my little file folder and I've got what looks like legitimate bona fide contract. Unfortunately, at that point, Carthos is going to get told by the cops, you're fucked. Now, squatters' rights. Let me talk about squatters' rights for a second. Fuck the chicken shit courts that don't want to help homeowners deal with squatters' rights. There was a military guy got back from being gone for 18 months. Military guy was gone for 18 months. Squatters moved into his house. He went to court. He tried to do everything by the book. And he tried to do everything by the book. And the courts wouldn't give him an eviction notice because it was inside of the months where you can't evict people. And he said, they're not tenants, they're trespassers. And so the courts are like, well, there's nothing we can do until I think May 1st. And then after May 1st, you're going to have 90 days. They're going to have 90 days to leave. He's like, so May to June, June, July, July to August. And if I can't get them out by October 1st, they get cold weather. He's like, nah, fuck this. The guy looked at the judge. He says, thank you for your time, but I'm just going to take care of it myself. And the judge says, well, you can't physically remove them. And he's like, I'm not going to. He's like, you also can't turn off the utilities. He's like, oh no, that shit's getting turned off. The judge is like, well, you can't. He's like, I need to renovate the house. And so he moved in. He showed up, had his little green cot. He walked right in the front door. He's like, I don't like this TV. He's recording it all. He's like, I don't like this TV. He kicked the TV, he threw it out. He just walked to the street and he threw it out. The people are like, what the fuck? He's like, I don't like that TV. It's got to go. And they're like, but it's not your TV. He's like, oh, it's got to be. It's my house. And so he went into the fridge and there was a bunch of beer. So he called his buddies. He's like, dudes, we got brewskis. And his like 6 or 7 military buddies showed up. They walked in the kitchen, just started drinking all the beer, started eating all the food. And they just started like, I don't like this chair. Because it wasn't his furniture. It was their furniture. And so their buddies are like, hey, you think this will support my weight? And he's on the chair and he jumps and the chair breaks. He's like, oh, we better throw this out. He's like, oh, look, a dumpster showed up. Time to renovate. Well, the squatters called the police and the police show up and they're like, you don't have an eviction. He's like, oh, I'm not evicting. I'm redecorating. I don't like any of the furniture. I'm getting rid of all the furniture. And the squatters are like, they're just destroying our shit. And the cops are like, you can't destroy their shit. The guy's like, it's my shit. It's in my house. He's like, I'm a resident. The cop's like, but you can't evict tenants. He's like, oh, they're not tenants. They're roommates. They're my roommates. And the lady's screaming, we're not his roommates. We're not his roommates. He's like, well, you got to be my roommates. Because I've been paying the utilities for the last 18 months. Obviously, you haven't been paying the rent. So I'm just moving in. So they took a bunch of their stuff and left with it. He changed all the locks. Well, they went to the courts and the courts gave them a court order that allowed them to have a locksmith come out and open the locks. When they got back, there was nothing. There was nothing in the house. Nothing. He took the fucking toilets out for repair, but he did it beautifully. He tagged them all up. He tagged every bathroom as out of service broken toilet. He took the fucking water fixtures. He turned the water off because the toilets were broken. He took the fucking the stove out. He took the fridge out. He took everything out, but he tagged it all up as under repair. The people finally just left. I mean, they fucked up his house, but they finally just left. We had a guy move his sister into the rental with him when renting from us. He then moved and let her stay there. She was never on the lease, never paid rent. It took us a year to evict her because it was her residence and our judge was a bleeding heart dipshit. Yeah, that unfortunately, the only thing you can do in those situations is just move in with them. All you can do is just move in with them and just be like, nope, I live here now too. It's so ridiculous. That's why I'm out of the property business. Everything I had has been sold or transferred. I'm out of that business. I did re-up everybody's lease at the apartment for 5 years. Everybody that had a lease with me at the rent-controlled place, they all have they got a 5-year extension. Yeah, you're making me miserable? Sweet, let's be miserable together. And I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying it's really your only option. I'm going to take a real quick break. I'll be right back. Yeah, it's like we're living in a society right now where people think they understand the law, right? People understand the law, and so many people are giving such bullshit advice. Like, I'm going to talk about this sovereign citizen shit for a second. Have you seen how many of these sovereign citizens are trying to make a hair's breadth interpretation of the word traveling? They said there is a difference between driving and traveling. Traveling is when you're doing it for no commercial purposes. And I've literally seen these sovereign citizens on the side of the road arguing with the police officer. And here's something that I want to remind everybody of. Arguing with the police officer is like saddling a cow. You're going to work like hell, but what the fuck's the point? If the police officer has decided that you're getting a ticket, you're getting a ticket. If once you've pushed the cop's buttons to the point where he's decided you're getting a ticket, you're getting a fucking ticket. Arguing with a police officer is just wasting your time. People, all these sovereign citizen bullshit motherfuckers, they're like, isn't it like 2 or more state lines? No, it's, right? Let me, I'm gonna throw this up on the screen because this is the bullshit that sovereign citizens try to pull. Right? This is the bullshit, and this is absolutely horseshit. But this is what sovereign citizens will try to pull. 5 responses to a sovereign citizen at a traffic stop. Sovereign citizen movement has become the bane of many police officers in the U.S., and this is going back all the way to 2015. Right? The sovereign citizen movement has become the bane of many police officers. These people feel that due to some contrived loopholes in the Constitution, they can declare themselves free and laws do not apply to them. However, people who get their legal advice from Wikipedia find these loopholes don't tend to exist. For example, a traffic stop will be... for many officers, a traffic stop will likely be a way to encounter one of these people. Please do not take them lightly. Most sovereign citizens are basically law-abiding people, albeit highly misinformed about how the law works. However, some sovereigns have proved a willingness and ability to be violent. If you suspect you're dealing with a sovereign citizen, as a law enforcement officer, call for backup. I'm not driving, I'm traveling. Often the sovereign citizens don't bother to pay for their licenses. They feel the right to free movement, which means they do not need a license. Travel is a right, which is true. What the sovereigns fail to grasp is they are free to travel by foot, by bike, even by horse. A car is a complex machine. To operate a complex machine requires training and some licensure to operate said machine. Here in Wisconsin, all of our driving laws are worded with operate motor vehicle. None say drive. Now, most states do say that. This is the thing that sovereign citizens never remember. They never remember the 10th fucking amendment. The powers not delegated to the United States by Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. What does that mean? That means it doesn't matter the bullshit that you say, as a free person, I don't recognize the jurisdiction you have, blah, blah, blah. At some point, the sovereign citizen will say they are a free person. As a free person, they are not subject to any local laws and are free of any legal constraints, including taxes or fines. Not if the fucking state you're in says you're subject to fucking fines. Period. That's what the 10th Amendment says. What they failed to grasp is that they want all the protections of local government without paying the cost. Ask a sovereign citizen what they would do if their child was hurt. Ask if their house was on fire, how would they plan to put it out? The response is always to call 911. It's a funny, eye-opening experience to point out that 911 and fire are a local tax-funded entity. So if they are a free person, well, maybe 911 is something they are free to keep away from. Speeding is not a crime. A crime requires an injured party. I love this one. In their twisted view of the law, they feel ordinance violations are not valid because there is no victim. Yet they forget we have different levels of legal violations. Here in Wisconsin, most traffic or other minor infractions are ordinance violations, not a crime, but a civil forfeiture. Thus, no injured party is needed. It is a civil matter, not a criminal matter. I want to remind you of something. Sovereign citizens out there, you fucking morons. If you were right, the police officer wouldn't be able to pull you over. But they do. And when you don't show up for court, they put a warrant out for you and they go get them. Sovereign citizens also base their legal stances on the Articles of Confederation, which is like trying to run your 2023 computer on Windows 3.1 or 3.0. Yeah, and the other problem is people don't realize that the Articles of Confederation are dissolved. The Articles of Confederation was a failure. And then we had the Constitutional Convention and we passed the Constitution. Most people don't even know the era of the Articles of Confederation. It seems some sovereign citizens will make their own license plates. The place will display terms like U.S. Constitutional Plate Exempt, Sovereign Neutral Non-Combatant, Sovereign Christian Citizen. The sovereigns love to use legal terms and talk about contracts. They forget that the roads they travel on have to be paved and the winter plowed. Point out to them there's a social contract between people using the roads and the people keeping the roads open for travel. Someone needs to pay for the costs. Am I being detained? Yes, a traffic stop is a short investigation detention. An officer with reasonable suspicion that a violation has taken place may stop someone for a short time to establish facts related to the violation. However brief that short time will be is decided solely by the citizen. If they want to play games, they are the one making the contact last longer. Sovereign citizens have learned all the shit they know from YouTube videos. And the thing is, though, a Terry stop, there's no such thing as a Terry stop. There's something called a Terry frisk. If you're talking about let's get on the same page. A Terry stop is not a probable cause to stop you. A Terry stop is I mean, okay. Yes, the Terry stop has evolved. The Terry stop was a brief detention based on the reasonable suspicion of involvement in criminal activity. But it involved because now the police officer, yes, the length of time for a normal process. Right, exactly. The piece of the Terry stop that still exists and why Terry stops are still referenced is the Terry frisk. For example, we're just going to use this bottle right here. And this bottle is filled with. Here, we're gonna. I don't want to carry this with me when I go out in public. It's too big. So I take one of these, and I pop it in here, and now I carry a much more reasonable bottle. If I get stopped by an officer, and he pats me down, and he feels this, and he says, "Can you please remove whatever's in your pocket?" I'm going to say, "No, I cannot." And when he says why, I'm going to say, because what I have in my pocket, you can clearly identify by touch as a prescription bottle. And the mandate of a Terry frisk is not for you to see what I have in my pockets. It's to make sure, and this is fake, by the way, in case anybody, it's for you to make sure I don't have this in my pocket. Now, if I have this in my pocket, and by touch, the officer can reasonably articulate that it is a weapon, now the Terry frisk itself is going to escalate. Sir, do you have a concealed carry? Sir, you failed to identify that you were concealed carry. Because remember, if you're concealed carrying upon being approached by a police officer, those are the first words that must come out of your mouth. I want to let you know that I am carrying a concealed weapon, and I do have my license for that. Can I see your license? I really don't want to give it to you. What's the purpose of the stop? We're not in a stop and ID state. You're right. We're not in a stop and ID state. And I'm not stopping to ID you. I'm stopping and I'm asking you for your concealed weapon permit, which you are required by law to present to me upon request. It's just like if you're driving a vehicle. The auditor people, or I'm sorry, the sovereign citizen people don't understand this. Operation of a motor vehicle is a privilege that the state affords you. And in all 50 states, DC, Guam, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, certain locations, when you get stopped and the police officer rolls up and says, license and registration, the only words out of your mouth are, yes, sir. Now, I don't believe I was speeding. Again, the cop doesn't give a fuck what you believe. The cop doesn't give a fuck what you believe. You can get a cop, a real good one like mine, where he said, how fast were you going? I was doing the speed limit. He's like, I had clocked you at 92. In this? Okay. I'm just going to accept my ticket and I'm going to go to court and fight it. Now, when the cop, you think that's funny? I think it's funny you think a Dodge Journey can get up to 92. And then he walked back. Now, the thing is, if I had gone into court and he would have walked in and been like, I hit him clocked at 92. Your Honor, I drive a 2016 Dodge Journey. I drive a 173 horsepower, 4-cylinder, 4-speed transmission. There's no way it goes 92. There is no way. And if he's going to clock me in an SUV going 92, why didn't he write me for reckless driving? And there we go. Now, the problem is people get their fucking legal education on TikToks and they don't dig into it. I told you that I've been stopped and police departments have had to compensate me. I got stopped for suspicious person. Being a suspicious person is neither a misdemeanor nor a felony. Walking around my own neighborhood at 5 o'clock in the morning with Oakleys on because I had a migraine and my Oakleys are my prescription. I know a lot of cops don't like that. Like when I'm talking to a police officer and I don't have my Oakleys in here. Like it's like this. Right? And I get it. I get why cops are angry, right? If you come up to me and I'm like this, and you're like, and I'm talking to you, and the police officer's like, can you please remove your glasses? No, I'm sorry. I can't do that. These are my prescription. These obviously aren't. We're pretending they are. I'm sorry. I cannot remove my dark glasses. I have a condition. If we can step into a shaded area, which reduces the illumination to a level where I can deal with it, we can do that. But no, I actually can't remove my glasses. I had a new bank teller at my bank. I go to a small bank. I walked in and it was during COVID. I had a mask on and I had a mask on and I had dark sunglasses on. So I get the bank teller's concern, right? I do. I get the bank teller's concern. I walk in and I'm just standing in line, right? I'm standing in line and I look like this. And I get it. The bank teller alerted the local police because we're a real small town. And they came in and the guy came, he said, didn't you see the sign on the door? And I'm like, I did. And I have an exemption to it. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, the bank manager knows me. I've told the bank manager that it's a pain in my ass to come up here with these and my Oakleys, because these are fragile as shit, right? These are drill mounts. I don't like to travel with these. I said, I have the bank manager knows me by name. And he's like, well, one of the tellers is nervous. I was like, for what? You're a suspicious person. Okay. Well, are you going to tell me that I don't have to wear a mask in here and you'll feel less threatened? Well, you need to wear a mask because it's Illinois mandate. Okay. Well, the sign says you can't wear sunglasses. They're not sunglasses. They're prescription eyewear. And at that point, I was like, I said, are you a representative of the bank? And he's like, no. I said, then we're done talking. I said, we're finished. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Has the bank asked you to ask me to leave? Because I'd like somebody from the bank to ask me to leave. And then the bank manager comes out and he's like, Mr. Jahlon, what's going on? I said, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Are you asking me to leave? He said, absolutely not. I don't know what the problem is. And the police officer was like, he's wearing sunglasses in your bank and it's on your door policy. The bank manager was like, and who the fuck called you? He's like, one of your tellers. He's like, which one of my tellers? And he said that one. I said, well, we no longer need your services. And then the cop looks at me and he's like, I'm going to need your name. I said, you ain't getting shit from me. You don't need fuck all from me. I said, the bank manager just said, I'm welcomed here. He's like, well, I need to put your name in my report for contact. I said, no, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. I don't need a report out of you. I looked at the bank manager. I said, I'm just going to go ahead and give you a call in a little bit and we'll just square this up. I start leaving and the cop's like, you can't leave until you give me your name. I said, I'm not required to give you my name. I said, you want to fucking write me another check? Feel fucking free. And then when I said that, his like 2 brain cells must have connected. He's like, yeah, you're free to go. And at that point, I'm like, you're lucky I have somewhere to be or I'd ask you for the stop report. I don't blame cops. I blame bad cops. I blame bad police officers. But there's bad people in every profession. Yeah, you'll get my name when you see the summons for your lawsuit. And see, and I'll tell you, I'm not one of these assholes that makes empty threats. When police officers get out of line, I'll just look at them and say, you know that you violated your protected immunity at this point. You realize that now your personal assets remain your personal assets as long as I decide to not file a lawsuit. Because if you think your police department's going to get in the way and not throw you under the bus, you don't understand how this works. You're detaining me illegally. That means you are no longer operating as a police officer. You are operating as a rogue agent in violation of your oath of office. I would like to be on my way now. I don't care about, and I carry my lawyer's card. I said, I don't care about your needs. I care about my needs. I did not call you. This is a non-consensual encounter. I'm not consenting. This is my lawyer's name and number. If you call him, make sure your police department writes out a purchase order for 1 hour of his time, because you have to pay him to talk to him. Because I'm not talking to him. I don't need him. You need him. And I feel bad because I have cop friends who are good cops. They've been police officers 20 plus years. But there are so many bad cops, right? And when I say so many bad cops, how many bad cops is too many bad cops? 1. If your police department has 1 bad cop in it, you have too many bad cops. But again, we're going to continue to have this problem until more people in a more powerful position, or until people like me grow their followings to a larger following, so that people start having to take notice. Like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, and the other guy. I can't think of his name. There's who's the guy that he's in the Trinity. You've got Ben Shapiro, you've got Jordan Peterson, you've got the other guy. I can't think of his fucking name, but there's the third one. Dave Rubin. Yes, Dave Rubin. He's the third one in like the pack. The sad part is they have these massive followings, right? They have this massive following of people and they're not really fucking doing anything with it. Like everybody wants to fucking hate on Jordan Peterson. right? Because Jordan Peterson says things that are uncomfortable. There was a sports announcer who said Serena Williams is the greatest female tennis player of all time. And somebody says, well, why can't you just call her the greatest tennis player of all time? They were like, because she's not. When Serena Williams played the number 200 ranked pro tennis player male, she lost 6-0, 6-0. Or, yeah, it's 6-0, 6-0. In that instance, she lost 6-0, 6-0. And she said the entire match took 15 minutes. She got fucking obliterated. I just saw I was reminded of the article of the U.S. women's soccer team was destroyed by a boys varsity, high school varsity soccer team. Because there's just, unfortunately, there is no comparison, right? There is no comparison between the physiology of a man and the physiology of a woman. Now, could you find in the top 200 male tennis players, is there one that Serena Williams could beat? Maybe on technique. Maybe he has a deficiency. Maybe she has, maybe it's the odd matchup where her serve is, he just can't handle her serve. I doubt it. Possible. But I'm so tired of Jordan Peterson getting shit on because he wants to talk about the rest of the equation. Jordan Peterson got asked, is there a cure to toxic masculinity? And he said, well, I don't know what toxic masculinity is. And she said, well, it's when men overtalk or mansplain to women. And so he turned it around in the questioner and he said, so it's when one gender violates the boundaries of another gender? And she said, yes, exactly. He said, so then there's toxic femininity as well. And if there's toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, then toxic masculinity doesn't actually exist. It's just being toxic. And I'm like, hot damn, there you go. Right? I'm not saying that men can't be toxic fuckholes. I admit mansplaining is a thing. Mansplaining is absolutely a thing. I used to see this shit all the fucking time. The head logistician of the Air Force was a female. And I would watch people give her briefings. And she would turn around and she'd interrupt and she says, I really don't need you to explain logistics to me. I'm your boss's 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 boss. I know logistics. And it was refreshing to see because why the fuck is a 22-year-old, 23-year-old male mansplaining to a 3-star general? Is part of that due to them segregating them in the first place? If she was consistently practicing among players like Andy Murray, she could perform at the same level? No, because she can't. Because she can't. Because she cannot. She cannot perform physically at the same level that the best men can. It has nothing to do with segregating them. It has to do with the absolute raw power of a man upper body. That's it. That's what it is. It's not an experience one. It's kind of like this. You get into the batter's box, and I pitched. You get into the batter's box, and you're used to seeing, in high school, you're used to seeing 81 to 88 mile an hour fastballs. And so you're a fairly competent batter. But then you come up against a pitcher who can push 89, 90, 91 and throw sidearm. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a better pitcher than the people you've played against. It's the fact that I pitch sidearm. It's the fact that you haven't practiced against a sidearm pitcher. But the technique doesn't keep up after the first at bat because now you've seen a sidearm pitcher. The second at bat and you're still scratching your noodle trying to put it together. Is that 3 miles an hour on the fastball? You just aren't used to hitting at that speed. Why do you think that very, 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 very fucking rarely are college kids recruited or high school? It almost never. I can't remember the last time a high school kid was draft. I don't fucking even know if a high school kid. The last player to go. Oh wait, no, that's yeah. There were 108 last year. There were 108 high school players drafted into the MLB, but none of them went to the MLB. They went to development feeder teams. The reason why they went to development feeder teams is they have to have practice at bats with people that are pitching at the speeds MLB is going to be pitching at. It's not about technique. It's about raw physical musculature. Do you think that the best team in the WNBA could beat the worst team in the NBA? I don't. Not even for a minute. Not even for half a fucking minute. Not even for half a minute. I don't need to think about that for 10 seconds. The worst men's team, the worst M's team, the worst team was the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons were 17-65, right? 17-65, right? That's terrible. But they would still beat the best team in the WNBA. There's a major difference. Going from 80s to 90s is like having never experienced fastball. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But when you couple it with you have a sidearm pitcher throwing that fast, your first two at bats, you're not going to know what the fuck's going on. You're going to be like, what the fuck is this? I don't know how to hit this. I don't even know how to fucking swing at this. The ball, you're swinging and the ball's already in the catcher's glove. You're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? Now, somebody asked me once, well, what about softball players versus baseball players? Well, men don't play underhand fast pitch softball, and women don't play overhand baseball pitch. The ball's half the size. Well, not half. Well, yeah, half the size. When they start having women's baseball or men's underhand, so I don't even think men could throw a ball underhand. I think it'd take 2 generations to teach them. Men's unassisted squat is 1,052, while women's is 604. That's a 400-pound difference at that peak level of competition. Right, it's like this. The movie G.I. Jane is a really great example of this. Jane goes out there and grabs Master Chief and can't pick him up. Can't scoop him. Anybody that's ex-firefighter, ex-military, ex-police officer, you know what a scoop is. A scoop is a, holy shit, we're under fire and I got to get you into a fireman's carry. I'm not going to get you into a mechanically perfect fireman's carry, but I'm going to get you up on my shoulders and I'm going to get you the fuck out of there. Well, she can't do that. She runs out there, little fucking SEAL, little Navy SEAL. She runs out there and she grabs him, she's dragging him, she's pulling him, and that's great and all. And I'm not saying that some women don't have a place in combat, because I've seen exceptional women in exceptional shape in the military. And I would go to war with them before I went to war with Danny DeVito looking guy, 200 pounds of shit shoved in a 150-pound uniform, 250 pounds of shit shoved in a 150-pound uniform. Like, there was a girl, the Air Force marathon record holder one year was a woman. She crushed it. She fucking dominated that marathon. She fucking destroyed it. Right? The very next year, a kid from Kenya fucking destroyed her time. Crushed it. In OTS where I was at, the best PT score was a woman. Right? The best PT score was a woman. And she was competing because she got tired of all the shit. She was competing on the man's scorecard. Because she got tired of all the fucking racist, sexist bullshit people were saying to her. Oh, well, your score's 100, but it's only because you're on the woman's scorecard. And I remember, and she got in trouble for the use of her language, but in front of everyone, she's like, you little bitch, I will go out there and crush 100 on the men's scorecard. Well, number one, somebody called Manchester. Number two, she got corrected for calling a fellow OT a little bitch. And then the commander looked at her and said, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Your graduation exam will be based on a man's PT score. And she got 100. She got, by the enhanced scoring card, she had like 109. But, you know, personally, the first qualifier for me is to consider someone for a job is willingness to do the job. How many men versus women are willing to do those positions? That's sometimes what it comes down to. Yes, exactly. And here's my big problem with that. Everybody's everybody, Jordan Peterson gets shit for this because everybody wants to talk about how many women CEOs there are, how many women CEOs of startups there are, how many of the Fortune 500 companies are run by a woman, right? And I've talked about this on the show many times. Everybody wants to compare apples to oranges, and everybody wants to say that it's not fair in an equal comparison, but they're comparing apples to oranges. But I want to talk about how many electricians are women, how many carpenters are women, how many masons are women, how many sanitary engineers working in the sewers are women, how many bricklayers are women, how many garbage men are women. Right? I want to talk about that. Because if we're going to talk about equality, then let's talk about equality at the basic level. Right? Yeah, if we were required to hire 50-50 men to women ratio for the fire department, we'd hire one man and then wait 6 to 8 months before hiring again, before a woman just applies. Right? Women don't want to do certain jobs. And here's the thing. And I hate to be like this, but because everything in government right now is about checking a box, everything in the world is about checking a fucking box right now, I guarantee you that a competent, qualified woman could go to any fucking fire department, and show up and be like, yep, I want the job. All right, are you qualified? I can pass your test. All right, let's do it. But the thing is, they're not qualified. No one really wants to work cleaning septic tanks. However, many men will just at the end of the day because that shit smells like money. Well, right. I was just talking about I think I was talking about it on the Discord, on the Ashes of Creation Discord. Yeah, guy was talking about how this was somebody's perspective, and this perspective fucking irritates me. He's like, video games should have a free-to-play mode because not everybody can afford $15 a month. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. If you can't afford $15 a month for your only entertainment for the entire month, then how the fuck do you afford the high-speed internet and the computer to play the game? And if you can't afford $15 a month for your entertainment for the whole month, you're not short on money, you're short on time. Guy came back with and I said, you have 8 hours a day to work. You have 2 hours a day to commute, and you have 6 hours a day to sleep. That's 16 hours. You have 8 whole fucking hours left of the day to work out, read, schmooze, and relax. And the guy's response was, when you're poor, you're working more than 8 hours a day. If you're working more than 8 hours a day and you're still fucking poor, you're the fucking problem. He's like, servers and when you're working servers, minimum wage isn't even minimum wage. Bullshit, motherfucker, because I worked 3 serving jobs. My favorite serving job out of all of them was overnight at Denny's. Overnight at Denny's was my favorite fucking job. Because I was clearing under the table undeclared tips, which I didn't know was illegal at the time. They told me you have to declare $8 an hour. And I was like, okay. So I was declaring $8 an hour. I thought that's all we had to declare. I was under the table clearing $1,000 a week at a fucking Denny's. At a fucking Denny's. Don't fucking tell me that being a server is fucking hard. Being a server in a shitty place where people don't tip is hard. It's why when my daughter was trying to finish her high school diploma, and mad shout out to my daughter, got her high school diploma at 20. Didn't settle for a GED, right? Being a shit server is hard too. You're right. Well, my daughter called me and she's like, Dad, I can't finish I'm not going to be able to finish. I said, why aren't you going to be able to finish? She's like, because I'm having to work 50, 60 hour weeks to make ends meet. I said, why is that? She's like, the people down here don't tip. And she's like, and the only other thing I can do is strip. And I don't want to go back to stripping. She didn't know she was pregnant yet. I said, okay, here's the deal. Because I fix all of my kids' problems once. I fix all of their problems once. What I said to her was, I will pay you $1,000 a month, which is what you need. Let me back that up. I said to her, what do you need to make a month to make your bills, to make ends meet? She gave me, it was like $972 or something. I said, I will pay you $1,000 a month to be a student. I will pay you that. What I want you to do is I want you to do nothing all day but your schoolwork. I am buying 40 hours of your time a week. I shouldn't have to as your dad, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to buy 40 hours of your time a week as your dad. I'm going to give you $250 a week, which is what you say will make your bills. And then you have your lash business on the side and you do that to make play money. I said, I'll pay your necessities. You do your 40 hours a week. That's what I'm buying. And then you do your lash business. And she did. She got a high school diploma at 20. You can laugh at her you want, but she doesn't have a GED. She has an actual high school diploma. Nobody gives a fuck what year you got it. She got it. And after that, she says, what do I do now? I said, well, I cleaned up your mistake. And she's like, Dad, I'm pregnant. No one will hire me. I will fucking continue to pay you because you can't find a job and I don't want you stressed with the baby. She'd already lost a couple of babies. I said, I will pay you until 1 month after the baby is born. And now the baby's born. Baby's 9 months today, I think. And that's fixing it. But the problem is that there's a lot of people that do nothing but make excuses. Being a server is hard. No, being a server is hard for shitty servers. Being a server is hard for shitty servers. If you're not making tips, there's something wrong with you. Or there's something wrong with the area you live in. But women want to talk about how there's not equality. Fine. I want 50% of all the electricians, carpenters, masons, automotive technicians to be women. Being broke is harder than being a server. No, actually being broke is easy. Being broke is easy. Being a good server is hard. But that's also why, like I told you guys, my buddy's restaurant is doing fucking amazing. My buddy had no turnover. He's turned over since the last time I had to sit with him, because we were rewriting the training material because his training material was antiquated as shit. The training material was still on the way the old restaurant was designed. He's had no turnover. He's gonna have 4 turnovers coming up soon. And we were just talking. I said, well, hire 4 more servers. And I said, hire 4 more servers and bring them on as trainees now. He's like, well, my other servers don't leave. I said, dude, you're making so much fucking money as compared. Your business grew by a factor of 10 in 12 months. And then it grew by a factor of 10 again. Your place is popping. You have the new place open. That place is popping. Hire 4 more fucking servers now and get them trained. He's like, well, what do I do when... He's like, well, I'm going to have too much manpower. Who fucking cares? Bring your fucking staff on. So what doesn't happen is in August, you now have 4 undertrained people and now you're struggling again. I was like, dude, it's an infinitesimal amount of money. His servers are now up to 19 an hour and 50 in percentage of 50% of the tips. What happens is all the tips from the night get pooled. 50% goes to the house to pay salary, and 50% gets distributed among the like if you work, let's say there's 100 man hours that day and you work 8 hours, so you worked 8%, and so say the tip pool is $1,500, then on top of your $19 an hour, right? So you make $152 for working, and then you get another $120 as your pro rate on the tips. Now, because they do it that way, it does kind of suck because the money all goes to the house and the house distributes, and they've got to keep... So you do pay tax on all 272. But you got servers that are making $5,000 a month. You think those servers have any problem being at work on time? This isn't like fucking Waffle House servers where they're calling in sick. These servers are making $5,000 a month. He's paying his servers a living fucking wage, right? And he's always worried about the money. He's like, I'm paying out so much money. And I was like, but your bank account, you had $30,000 in operational money. And the following year, you had $300,000 in operational money. Where are you losing? You now have, between the multiple businesses, now everything's paid off because he's not paying, like, he owns everything now. He owns all the kitchen stuff. He owns the oven. He's not leasing. He owns everything. He's got $3 million in the fucking operational fund between the two places now. I said, what the fuck are you worried about? I said, I'm going to be coming here in August telling you to up these people's pay to $20 an hour. He's like, man, I'm just making these servers rich. I was like, but you're not getting fucking poor. See, that's the problem. Even people in America that are trying to be fucking business people, they don't understand, right? They don't understand that profit sharing, the fastest way to get people motivated is to profit share. And when I say that, you realize how much money you make when your takeout window, your takeout, your 5 parking spots that you've now dedicated to pickup orders are always full. From 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 11 o'clock at night, there's always at least 2 cars picking up food. You have 40 tables and they're all full. They're all full. If you don't get a seat at this guy's place at 4 o'clock for dinner, then you might as well, if you get there at 4:10, you're probably not getting a table till 5:05, 5:10. And when people say, well, the wait here is too long, and he gets these complaints, he calls me, he's like, man, we got like 12 complaints this week that the wait is too long. And? Well, I don't know what to tell him. Tell him to get here at 4. Well, that'll just make everybody get here at 4. Survival of the fucking fittest, man. What are you worried about? If your tables are filled now, if your 4 o'clock rush came in and then at 5, you had a 45-minute period where you don't have any tables, that'd be a problem. The food is good. The service is good. The prices are good. The liquor is good. You don't underpour. You don't water down your booze. You don't cheap out on the steak sizes. You don't cheap out on the sides portions. You didn't. And then he came to me with this bullshit. He's like, Jay, man, we got to talk. I said, about what? He's like, every other restaurant owner, we had our local meeting and every restaurant owner is making fun of me. I said, for what? He said, because in restaurant drinks are only 99 cents. I said, yeah. He's like, but they're all telling me they're charging $2.99, $3.99 for in-house drinks. I said, good, fuck them. Their restaurants aren't full all night. He's like, but I could be making more money. Right, and when you were struggling and you were poor and you were trying to make every single dime you could, this is that whole thing I say on my gaming channel. When you're worried about the pennies on the floor, you're missing the hundreds on the table. I said, you have a factor of 10 and then a factor of 10 again, your money. Your operational budget is allowing you to now open a third location. You are like 8 years ahead on your expansion plan. Your lunch place is getting catering orders. He's like, yeah, I'm swamped. I'm going to have to bring on another cook for these catering orders. Like, then why are we dicking around over fucking $2 a person? We're going to dick around people. I said, it's going to work like this, man. You start charging people $2.99, $3.99 for drinks, your prices are going to go up and less people are going to come here. Why are we worried about $8 on a party of 4? Because then they come here twice a month instead of once a week. I said, yeah, would you rather send 10 $2 drinks or $31 drinks? Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's exactly what I told him. I said to him, do you know how often now I look at the drink prices when I go somewhere and I drink water? He said, why do you do that? I said, because number one, it's healthier for me. It's a healthy decision. Number two, if you're going to charge $4.99 for a drink, kiss my ass. Drinks are food gateways. Yep, they are. They are. Kind of. If I'm coming to and they are, for McDonald's has the science. If I'm coming to your restaurant, I'm coming for dinner, I'm not coming for the drink. You always, no, we're not talking about alcohol. No, we're not talking about alcohol. We're talking about soft drinks. Alcohol is a completely different discussion. We're talking about it's $3.99, $4.99 for a soft drink, a soda. Because most people don't pay attention to the price of the drinks. Most people don't even look for the drinks on the menu. This is well known in the restaurant industry. When you have a menu, most people don't even look for what do they say? The server comes to the table. Hey, what do you have? And they're like, oh, we have Coke products. Oh, let me get a Sprite. And then you get that bill and you're like, holy shit, I just spent $16 on drinks. Yeah, $5 soda is bullshit. Right? And like my buddy when he had to raise prices for takeout food, he was all nervous. My buddy is really nervous because he's not, because I said you need to pull some of that $3 million in operational money out. You need to profit take for yourself, put that in your money market account, just pay the taxes on it now. That way, because you're sitting on like $1 million in your personal bank account, you're gonna feel better about your life. Don't spend it. Have it. Your girlfriend and you share meals and I don't get drinks, but if a drink's 99 cents, I'm much more likely to get one. You can get 99 cents from me or you can get nothing. Exactly. Because Carthos and I have adopted I'll drink a water. Yeah, can I get a water? You sure you don't want something else? Well, for 99 cents, I'll take a Sprite. For $4.99, I'll take a water. Right? My buddy was all nervous when I said, hey man, you just put a sign up on your online menu. You just tell people the prices of the takeout are not the same prices in the in-menu. You say, but you don't raise the prices themselves. You tell people during COVID, I don't know if you guys knew this, but styrofoam went up. Plastic went up. I just said to him, I said, let people know, hey, I just want to let you know, if you're placing a takeout order right now, we are charging a surcharge for, there is a surcharge for takeout because of the costs that we incur. And there were a couple of times I was up at his restaurant and I was just standing there, right? And dressed a lot like this, even with my I'm not sick, I'm twisted shirt on. And somebody would be like, I want to talk to somebody in charge about the price of the takeout. Sure, what's up? Are you the owner? No, but I advise the owner. What's up? I don't understand why I'm having to pay $16 in a surcharge. If I ate in the restaurant, my bill would have been $16 cheaper. Ma'am, you are correct. If you had eaten in the restaurant, your bill would have been $16 cheaper. But unfortunately, we have to pay for all the takeout plastic. and we don't want to raise the prices of the menu. So that's why we tell you when you call that right now, due to logistics concerns in the dining industry, you're having to pay a premium for the plastic takeout. We've tried putting our food in the styrofoam, and by the time you get home, the styrofoam melts due to the heat, and we don't think it offers a good experience. So that's why we let you know on the phone call. It's on our website. We let you know everywhere that until prices normalize, you're going to have to absorb the cost, or we could lie to you and we could just peanut butter spread it across all the meals. But we don't think that charging people a higher price in restaurant is fair. 9 times out of 10, the people are cool with it. 1 time out of 10, people are shitty about it. And I just look at them and say, okay, Karen, don't eat here. Ma'am, if you were willing to take our plates home, eat your meal, then drive back and return our plates, we could give you the same price. Exactly. Ma'am, if you were okay with us putting your steak in an aluminum foil, in your potato in aluminum foil, in your green beans in aluminum foil, and we could just put all that in the bag, we'd be cool. But since you want a nice presentation when you get home, you have to buy that. And guess what? Now that prices are normal, prices are good. With that said, great show. Do you really own it? No, I don't think you do. I don't think you own a lot of the things you think you own. Great show today. I'm going to get out of here because I'm a person and I want relaxation time too. Like the person on today, if you're working less than 8 hours a day, well, I've done that. So my first client today was at 8 o'clock and it's now 4:17. I did take a long lunch though. I took the wife and Gizmo out for sushi. I will be back here next week for more politics. I'll be on my gaming channel tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern for Ashes 101.